Hello, it's Empress LuxAse. Please like and subscribe. Thank you to those already do. If you like exclusive content, check out my Patreon and the member section here on YouTube. So, I wanted to follow up with the USA reading. I didn't touch on Jupiter being in Cancer and what effect that will have on the US and the collective. So, Jupiter in Cancer entered this month, July. So, just between now and August, Jupiter returning to Cancer will affect the U.S. sun sign. So this brings emotional expansion, nationalism, and an ancestral awakening. So this will be America's Jupiter return hitting, the identity, values, the homeland pride. So what we can expect would be like a surge in patriotism with family land and like real America rhetoric, that type of rhetoric that'll dominate politics, like the real America. Or, like somebody likes to say, make US great again, all that type of stuff. So yeah, it's just America's Jupiter return is gonna hit identity, values, and the homeland pride. Also with motherhood and family being weaponized, with women's rights, unfortunately, fertility and traditional family values will take center stage as well. So a lot of discussions around that, women, our body, things of that nature. Also housing and ancestral wealth in focus, like real estate shifts, reparation debates. Like I know for like the African American community, we often ask, when are we going to get our reparations? Because we see the Asians, they got theirs with no issue. And within the African American community, a lot of people are, waiting. So this may, with Jupiter and Cancer, may bring the reparation conversation back up, or at least debates around it. Also, there could be land ownership battles that will intensify, people fighting over land and property. There also could be, spiritual and cultural roots revive. I definitely think there's going to be a big transition with spirituality in the community. Now, as far as like the spiritual and cultural roots being revived, there could be a rise in indigenous pride, even genealogy and ancestral healing movements. Like maybe people are going to really be digging deeper into who they are and where they come from. Like people are going to really be trying to figure out, like, I'm more than what the options and choices are on this voter ballot. Like they're really going to want to know, break their family history down. So with that Cancer moving into Jupiter. So this also, could have founding documents re-examined. So that goes back to the first video I did on the U.S. Is the Constitution possibly going to be rewritten? Or is there going to be a push to either defend or rewrite the Constitution for like a digital post-Pluto era? So it's a big shakeup with the government and the government as we know it and the U.S. Now, Jupiter and Cancer, there is some tension with it, because this could be like Jupiter and Cancer wants tension, while Pluto and Aquarius wants revolution. So 2026 could be more so emotional nationalism versus radical futurism. So one side will cling to roots while the other codes a new system. So like America could go literally full mom mode, very nurturing, protective, but possibly smothering. While Jupiter in Cancer is the sacred homeland vibe on steroids. So you're going to see like a lot of big hearts, big homes, and big political feelings. I just hope it doesn't like turn into a custody battle for the soul of the nation and cause more. I mean, that is what trans is. There could be protests and, things of that nature. So just with Jupiter and Cancer, is this all about America's emotional expansion, especially with national identity, surges in patriotism and tribal politics? I just hope it doesn't get people out of pocket. Like, how some people be acting, especially during the last election we just had. And it's also highlights family and motherhood becoming center stage, possibly being both celebrated and possibly wanting to control it more. Then housing and land, this could be like wealth wars and ancestral property battles. Like, I've heard of people, houses that was taken by the government or no one claimed it. So there could be a lot of issues around who owns this property, who really owns this house or this land. Now, spiritual roots, I just feel like it's going to be a revival of tradition, family lineage, or indigenous wisdom. Like, for instance, if my ancestors are African, what were they doing spiritually? What were their religion? It gives me, I'm going to go do what my ancestors was doing. I'm going to go back to the roots. Now with politics, it's given following like founding ideas versus futuristic overhaul. So I'm wondering, are they going to try to rewrite the Constitution? Like, I'm really wondering that. Um, with Jupiter in Cancer, Cancer is actually the U.S. sun sign, July 4th. So this is like a cosmic homecoming. But it's going to definitely light up America's values, identity, money, and power image. The last time we had a Jupiter return was in 2013 to 2014. So that was around when Black Lives Matter began and the Homeland Security spike. So picture that. So I'm definitely getting like patriotism surging and splits with that. So that's all about, Jupiter expanding whatever it touches. In Cancer, that's all about the national identity. So protect our own mentality could really manifest like populist, maternal, veteran political figures, stricter immigration policies or border security, or military or defense spending justified because we're protecting the home. So if there's any election cycles in 2026, which I believe there will be, it'll be more so emotional over logic, like what aligns with the family values and American legacy all the way again. Now, the motherland narrative, Cancer is the mother, the womb, the nurturer. So there's going to be a lot of debates around women's rights, which I just hated. Motherhood, fertility, and who gets to define what family is. So I would say we may see a lot of woman-led policy movements like maternal leadership and a weaponization of motherhood and political messaging, like maybe forced birth laws, anti-LGBTQ, and family rhetoric. Motherhood could literally become a political currency, both sacred and like being used to manipulate. Now, going back to the real estate, housing, ancestral wealth, and economic focus on that, Cancer rules property, land, and homes. So with this U.S. Jupiter return, this could like trigger housing bubbles or shifts in home ownership laws. So this could be like pushing for reparation or land being returned, or native sovereignty, tax breaks, or like a new legislation around family estates, farming, and domestic wealth. So I get the wealth gap will become a national motion trigger, especially around ownership and ancestral equity, especially around land ownership. Now, the rebirth of ancestral wisdom and heritage pride. Jupiter in Cancer is all about going back to your roots to grow forward. So this gives me DNA ancestral tests, especially like with the Afro-Indigenous and immigrant identity pride. So like I said, there could be a revival of traditional religions. If my father practiced, I don't know, Santeria, I'm going to go back and do what my dad did. Or family-based spirituality. You stick to what your family raised you up on. And then there could be heritage festivals reclaiming lost names or genealogy. So I'm going to say America may just start obsessing over its spiritual bloodlines, but not just in political ones, which I don't think that's bad. I actually like that change that Jupiter and Cancer will bring. But see, 2026 is right about now, karma's kicking in, so that makes perfect sense for that, to go back to your roots. Now return to founding documents or the possibility of things like the Constitution being rewritten. The U.S. Declaration of Independence was born under Cancer. So with this return, I'm getting, is there going to be a rereading of founding values or movements to redefine what the Constitution is supposed to be? So I'm getting like digital rights, maybe like something incorporated with AI. So I would say by late 2026, the conversation could shift around a new constitution adapted for this era or the digital age. And then the bonus is the Pluto and Jupiter clash. So Pluto will be in Aquarius. Pluto in Aquarius is all about truth, digital, future, AI, and rebellion. So with Jupiter being in Cancer, this is past, home, and tradition. So these two signs are totally different. So the U.S. will be pulled in like two opposite directions. Cancer is all about protecting the homeland, honoring tradition, while Aquarius is destroying the system, build something new. So this is going to be tension. Because I feel like it may be like the tech people versus the working families, the AI futurists who's the people for it versus the ancestral revivalists wanting to go back to the old ways. Or, I mean, why can't we combine both? One wants to code the future while the other one wants to protect the past. So that's going to be a tough cookie. A tough cookie. I feel like we should combine all of that. But I just wanted to touch on that because I forgot to mention that in the last USA video. Bye.